Okay, I'm back over here at the bike. I've got my rear cylinder all set up, ready to get on. So what we're going to do is we're going to try the method of just getting it on the, start getting it on the studs, get it lined up with the connecting rod, and seeing if we can't get the piston pin in and get the other side circlip on. And if that all goes well and we can get everything on, then I'll probably get going putting the head on. Something that's important to note, make sure that you're oiling the O-rings before you put them on. Just a little bit of oil is fine, and then make sure that you're also oiling the components like the piston, the wrist pin, and any of the other mechanical components. You want to make sure that those aren't starting up dry for the first time. Alright, so I'm ready to go ahead and put the cylinder head on now. As you can see, I've got the cylinder in place. I've got the included cylinder dowels in. To put those in, you can just kind of put them in by hand to start, and then I like to use a brass hammer for things like that. The purpose of brass is that it's softer than the steel, so that you're not going to mar it up any. So yeah, if you don't have a brass hammer, if you're careful, you can get away with another kind, with a normal hammer, but brass is really the way to go. I've got the head gasket in place. This is a really nice high quality multi-layer steel gasket. They say it doesn't matter which way it's oriented, just so long as you have the dowel holes in the right location, so you can flip it over whichever way. So now I'm going to put the cylinder head on and torque it down. They point out that what you have to do is put it on, torque it down, and then untorque it, and then take it off, and then retorque it again. So a little bit of an involved process, but let me go ahead and put that on. One other thing to note before I put the cylinder head on is that I went ahead and I cleaned up the surface. You want to make sure that you have the surface of your cylinder head clean before you put it on, so that you have a good seal. You can just use a well, I'll show you the kind of tool that I use for it is one of these kind of polishing wheel surfaces. Not polishing wheel, that's the wrong term, but it's abrasive, but it's not abrasive enough that it's going to put gashes into the head surface. So, but you want to clean it up. You don't want to just let it have all that built up carbon on there. You can take the head to a machine shop and have them flatten it, deck it, whichever. And you should always check to make sure that the surfaces are all square, which I've already done. So I think I'm ready to go ahead and put this on. Well, I think I'm going to call it a day. At this point, I've been working on the bike for about 8 or 9 hours. I guess about 9. As you can see, I've got the rear cylinder on, I've got the rear cylinder head on, and I've got it torqued on. Because I ended up damaging one of the circlips when I was trying to install it into the first piston, I don't have enough to do the forward cylinder. Otherwise, I would just keep on trucking and get that done. But I'm going to have to get that in, get one of those coming so that I can get that work done. I also need to get the special tool for removing the cam bearings and installing the new one, so I'm not going to get done this weekend anyway. So that's the tool that I wish I'd ordered ahead of time. Otherwise, if it wasn't for that, I think I could actually just finish this up tomorrow. The book says that this is about an 8-hour job, and I think that if you're a shop that does this kind of work regularly, has all the tools, has done it before, then I think that's probably about right. I'd sort of figured to double that for it to be 2 days, and I think that would probably be about accurate if I had everything I needed. Because of this setback, I'm going to end up finishing it up probably next weekend, and that's just fine. I guess a couple of notes for doing this. You know, when you're digging into the engine, it is major surgery. That said, this is really not too bad of a job to be doing. Certainly, if you were just going to stick to doing the cams by themselves, I think that would probably be a little bit more straightforward, just because you don't have to deal with getting the piston rings compressed, get them to the right size, get the rings to the right clearance, and try to compress them in. I'll admit, putting the cylinder on was kind of a pain. The biggest part that was a pain about it was getting those circlips in. Harley does make a tool that supposedly makes it easier, but it's just one of those things that I always have found those to be a pain to deal with. If I did it more, I probably wouldn't mind so much, because I'd probably be better at it. But really, this is an in-depth job, but if you take your time, really not so bad. We'll see how I feel about that at the end of this whole thing. But I'd say I'm pretty happy with the progress today. I would have liked to at least have gotten both of the cylinders back on, but that's really a pretty minor setback. Got this rocker box is physically in place, but I'm not tightening it down yet. I need to take a look and decide if I need to buy new gaskets or not. I think I'm probably going to have to get those as well, in which case I have to get them coming or go up to the Harley dealer and grab them from there. But otherwise, really, S&S has good instructions on this. If you have the Harley manual that tells you all the details about what you need to do to take this apart, it's really not too bad of a job. Just take your time, and like I said, I'm pretty pleased with the work for today. So I'm going to continue this once I get a few more parts in.